Hey everybody, Brandon Swanson here from Most Valuable Podcast, and I'm here this week doing our college football top 10. And if you are new to these videos, this is how it goes. So I give my top 10 after the college football week is over, and Ricky gives his top 10 with the number 1 team getting 10 points, the number 10 team getting 1 point. Ricky puts it together, does all the math. So if you have any questions on that, talk to him, not me. So I'm going to give you the top 10, starting at number 10 and then going to number 7. So 10 through 7, and then I'll go 1 through 6. So at number 10 this week, we have the TCU Horned Frogs. They come in at this one, a tough loss this past week to Oklahoma. I think Ricky and I both were in agreement that they were going to be the team to beat the Sooners. Unfortunately, they couldn't do it. The defense we thought that they would have did not show up. At number 9, the Ohio State Buckeyes. Yep, the Ohio State Buckeyes still hanging around at number 9, 2-loss team, but the Buckeyes still there. At number 8, the Notre Dame Fighting Irish. The Notre Dame Fighting Irish. Now with 2 losses. Ricky and I, we talked this past week on the Primetime Podcast. Who needed the win more? Notre Dame or Miami? I said Notre Dame. They clearly needed the win more. They couldn't get it. They got run out of Hard Rock Stadium, 41-8. It was not a lucky night for the Irish. And at number 7, how about Auburn? Where did they come from? Where did they come from? I could not believe it. 40-17. 40-17 over, at the time, number 1 Georgia. Auburn was a thing of beauty this past weekend. They played well. They did what they needed to do. And they left the Georgia Bulldogs stunned. Now we'll go up and I will release our top 6, starting at number 1. The number 1 team this week for Ricky and I, the Alabama Crimson Tide, baby. Alabama staying at the same spot that Ricky and I have had them since the rankings came out. Ricky and I have had Alabama at number 1 since we started doing the rankings a couple of weeks ago. The Crimson Tide play a very close game against Mississippi State. Mississippi State played them so well, but the good teams win those close games. Alabama did just that. That's why they remain number 1. Number 2. Number 2 this week. Moving up to number 2. Let me pull a Ricky for you. The U. The Miami Hurricanes. They move all the way up to number 2. The Miami Hurricanes with a huge win this past week against the Notre Dame Fighting Irish, 41-8. Miami this week sealed it for me. They look like a complete team. They're a very real playoff team. And if they can take care of business against Clemson in 2 weeks, they're in. Easy as that. And simple as that. Great win for the Miami Hurricanes. At number 3, Boomer Sooner, Oklahoma. They are at number 3 after a big win against TCU this past weekend. Baker Mayfield continues to impress and continues to make a name for himself and hopefully for the Heisman. So at number 3, Oklahoma. At number 4, even though they had their first loss this weekend, the Georgia Bulldogs. The Georgia Bulldogs stay in the top 4, remain in the playoffs for this week, even after a big blowout loss to Auburn, 40-17. But Georgia sticks around. Ricky and I had a discussion on this one, but after I talked it out pretty much by myself, and Ricky didn't have to say much, we moved Georgia to number 4. So Georgia stays in. The first team out at number 5, the Wisconsin Badgers. Wisconsin 10-0. And this past week, beat a good Iowa team. Beat them pretty handily, too. 38-14, I believe, was the final score in that one. Wisconsin, still undefeated. How can't you have them around? And that's why the Badgers are the first team out. And the second team out of the college football playoffs this week at number 6, the Clemson Tigers at 9-1. And as long as they continue to be a one-loss team, they're going to stick around. They have a huge game in 2 weeks. They go into Miami, and they're going to try and do what Notre Dame could not do this past weekend and knock off the U. So that is our top 10. That's our top 10 this week. Again, I'll run through it really quick. Number 1, Alabama. Number 2, Miami. Number 3, Oklahoma. Number 4, Georgia. And then the first team out, Wisconsin at number 5. Clemson at 6. Auburn at 7. Notre Dame at 8. Ohio State at number 9. And at number 10, TCU. That is our college football top 10 for this week. We'll continue to do this for the next couple of weeks. We have this next week kind of a lull of a week. Not a lot of games that you would think would be intriguing, but we'll see what we end up coming up with. And then the week after that, in week 13, it's going to be a huge week in college football that's going to help us figure out a whole lot of things and really decide the top 4 in the college football playoff bracket. That is going to do it for this week. Thank you so much for tuning in and joining us. Continue to watch the Primetime Podcast. Check out all of the Primetime Podcasts throughout the next couple of weeks as college football really heats up. So long, everybody.